Hi everyone, welcome. FPLMattDay here, and this is my FPL wildcard draft team all ready for game week 5 for those managers that are looking to wildcard ahead of another big game week. We're currently on international break, so we're just under a week until the game week 5 deadline. So I thought perfect time to show everyone my thoughts for you managers that do want to push that wildcard button. For those that don't remember what happens when you push and activate the wildcard button, you get unlimited transfers, just like the start of the season. Same rules apply, 3 players per club. If you are transferring out players who have gone up in value by 0.2 million or more, you will lose that value once you transfer them out, and you have to bring them back in for their new price. So just remember that before you are transferring any players out that are holding some value. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. Also, give this video a like and get your comments in on your thoughts on my wildcard draft, and let me know in the comments if you're wildcarding your team. Me personally, I'm not wildcarding my team just yet, but looking at this draft, it does make me want to wildcard because I'm really liking the potential in this team selection. So here we go. I'll share screen now, and I'm going to start with the goalkeeper choice for those managers that are wildcarding ahead of game week 5. And as you can see there, Leno is in between the sticks. The Fulham goalkeeper, Luton home in game week 5, which is a really good fixture for him. But let's have a look at his up and coming fixtures there as well on the screen. Some really good fixtures there. Luton home, Palace away, Chelsea home, which is probably plenty of saves, maybe even a clean sheet at this point in time with the way it's going. Sheffield United home in game week 8. Spurs away, Brighton away, United home, Villa away. So it gets a bit trickier, but then Wolves home, game week 13. So you get some really good fixtures from Leno in this early stage of the season, which we're still in at game week 5. But if you're wildcarding now, you get a great run of fixtures with him at this point. And he's already got some really strong scores this season already. And he's shown at 4.5 million. He's probably the best £4.5 million goalkeeper in the game right now. So let's go into my defense. You probably just had a quick sneak peek then of some of them, but I've got a back 3 here on screen so far for this team. And we'll look on that far side, on the far left-hand side of the screen. Udogie from Spurs. He set the Premier League alight so far, looking really good in a Tottenham shirt. Didn't keep a clean sheet in game week 4, but still got an assist. Got a big score in game week 3 with an assist and a clean sheet away at Bournemouth. Clean sheet against Man United in game week 2. He come off as a sub early in that one, just after the 60th minute, but Spurs still kept a clean sheet. So 3 returns in 4, becoming very popular choice. Up and coming fixtures look a little bit difficult. Obviously, Sheffield United there in game week 5. But an Arsenal is obviously the easier fixture, but then Arsenal away, Liverpool home are the tough ones. But then look at this run: Luton, Fulham, Palace, Chelsea home, Wolves away. Some really good green there if you were looking at Udogie on your wildcards. Let's go to the other 2 defenders that I've put on there. Colwill, he might be a bit of a surprise to some managers because Chelsea haven't been looking good or keeping clean sheets, but they do still have some fixtures on their side. I think they will look to improve soon, but at 4.5 million, I just think he's a cheaper alternative to Chilwell. And when Chelsea do keep clean sheets, he's looked good. He's been good on the ball. I think the BPS could potentially be there. So he's in there. But remember, there's another defender on the bench that we can rotate in future weeks, which I'll go through shortly. And then the last defender, Kieran Trippier. Last season's absolute hero in FPL. So many points. The fixture run for Newcastle is starting to get really good. On screen there, you can see Brentford home. Tricky one, but then Sheffield United away, Burnley home, West Ham away, Palace home, Wolves away, Arsenal home there, and Bournemouth away. So in that next sort of 7 games, they're all pretty much green with the, with other than those sort of 3 ones there, which look a little bit more tricky. But Trippier, we all know, can take set pieces. When he's on it, when Newcastle are on it, he's a bonus point magnet as well. There will be Champions League potential for Newcastle, and Trippier might play in those games. So keep an eye on it and how he goes with Premier League minutes. But it could mean earlier subs for Trippier, which means he banks a clean sheet early. If for whatever reason he loses his place because of the Champions League taking importance, someone like Livramento could potentially come in. But I still think Newcastle will look to play Trippier both games a week, or maybe even play Livramento in the Champions League. But yeah, Trippier and Newcastle's fixtures looking good right now. So let's go into my midfield. We'll zoom out slightly there. Just saw a quick sneak peek then again of the forwards, which we will talk about shortly. But let's go into the midfield 5, which is potentially going to be what we see as the template going forward. James Maddison there, home to Sheffield United in game week 5. Great fixtures coming up as we spoke about them for Udogie, for Spurs. Maddison's returned in 3 out of 4 games, looking brilliant in a Tottenham shirt. He just does everything in that team so far. Free kicks, corners, scored 2 goals already. Absolute must-have if you're on a wild card. Saka, I think he's probably the safest bet on a wild card with Arsenal. You know he's going to get the numbers as the season goes on. They are rotating a bit with penalties. So either him or Odegaard, I think, could be quite similar in terms of their picks. But I think because of his ownership and his goal threat he has in an Arsenal shirt, I think Saka for me is still the best option. Another one there might be a bit of a surprise, as I know there's some other wildcard drafts out there that don't have Diaby from Aston Villa on there, but he's got Crystal Palace at home in the next game week. And then if you have a look here at his fixtures, sorry, another quick sneak peek then of the strikers. Let's go into his fixtures, and that just looks brilliant to me. Palace home, Chelsea away. You know, Villa can open teams up away from home as well. Brighton home, Wolves, West Ham, Luton, Forest, Fulham. Some really good fixtures coming up. And he's already shown with 2 returns in the opening 4 games that he's a goal threat. And he's playing in a striker's position with Watkins as well. So really liking that potential there. Then we got Marcus Rashford. He started to return in his last couple of games for Man United. Really good run of fixtures coming up here for United. As you can see, lots of green there. So I think for now, he's still a keep. His price has gone down to 8.9 million, which is disappointing for us owners that do have Rashford. But for me, I think he's someone you still keep because United will score goals. They will create chances, and those fixtures are too good to turn down. And then the final midfielder, I still like Mbeumo right now. Too much green. Look at that. Okay, tough game in game week 5, but he's on pens, which is huge. He's scoring goals from open play as well, which we saw in game week 4. Everton, Forest, Man United, Burnley, Chelsea, West Ham home. There's plenty of potential in there still for Mbeumo at Brentford, whilst Tony is still banned. So let's go on to my 2 forwards, which I think you may have already seen before. And there might be another surprise there with Gabriel Jesus with that sort of double up on the Arsenal attack. But Everton away, you can see fixtures like Bournemouth away in there, Sheffield United home, Burnley home, Wolves home, Luton home, all over the next sort of 7 or 8 game weeks. But there is Champions League potential where we could see some rotation from Arsenal, but I still think they're going to be strong in the league. They're obviously pushing to try and win the Premier League title this season after obviously they couldn't win it last year. He come off the bench against United, scored, looked really good, looked really sharp. He's a big upgrade on Nketiah. So I'm liking that Jesus potential for Arsenal for a double up. I think they'll beat Everton comfortably in the next game week. And if you really don't want Jesus and you want someone else for a bit of potential, you could look at Darwin Núñez. Liverpool's fixtures get pretty strong from game week 8 onwards. Although they do have a couple of good fixtures coming up in game weeks 5 and 6. Sorry, a bit trickier in 7 and 8, but then 9 onwards they get quite good. So you can always make that change to Darwin if you need to, who is also another option. And then the last striker there, Haaland, don't even need to go into him. You know, he's going to get huge numbers, will remain in all of our teams, and he's got huge expected ownership, huge ownership already. So Haaland stays in there. At this stage, I'm not looking to move him on. So let's go to the substitutes bench to round up the squad. And you can see Areola, easy number 2 option for me. Go in there, currently 4.1, so he has gone up in price. You know, if managers have had him from the start of the season, they're very lucky. You know, a few of us went to Turner, who's still a good option, but I think Areola edges him. Trickier fixtures coming up, but if you get games like Sheffield United home there, Everton home in 10, Forest, Burnley, Palace, Wolves, all these good fixtures that come up in the coming weeks in this next phase of the season, Areola potentially, you know, an absolute steal really for 4.1, and he's number 1 right now for West Ham. Saliba is in there right now, and this is in there because there is a lot of managers who are able to start with Saliba. His price has gone up already, as you can see, currently 5.2. So I think if he's still in your squads, do not sell him, keep him, because you get yourself a starter who's got a goal threat and assist threat as a centre-back for Arsenal, 3 strong green fixtures as well in the next 6, 4 there in the next 8, and then even more to come here. So I think if you've already got him, keep him. If you don't have him, I still think an Arsenal defender is worth having. They just rotate in really well. So I'd still stick there. I'd still give it a go. And again, they're easy players to shift on for other options if you need to. So let's look at the last 2 players on the bench. And we've got Archer here from Sheffield United, 4.5 million. Still 4.5 million. Starting striker for Sheffield United. There's plenty of green games in here that you can throw them in. Wolves home, Bournemouth home, Fulham away. These types of games where you still expect Sheffield United to find a way to score. And then the last player on the bench, again, if you've still got him in your team from the start, don't sell Estupiñán. Okay, Brighton's fixtures do get quite tough in this next 6, but you're still going to want to have him for Bournemouth home, even Villa away. He attacks in these games for Brighton. And then as we go back to around game week 10, you're going to want to still have him for this run. I just wouldn't sell him. Purchase currently 5.3 million, so it's going to cost you 5.3 mil to purchase him. And he was 5 million at the start, so you'll lose value as well if you sell him. I just think he's a season keeper for me, unless he gets any injuries. But yeah, would not be selling Estupiñán. So there you have it on screen. It's the full squad. So this is probably how I would look to play it in this game week. Maybe I'd go Saliba. Pushes those expected points to 58 points. With my current squad, if I was to use this wildcard, I'd still have 0.4 in the bank, which is always nice to have a bit of spare change in there. Maybe if you change the captain to Maddison, you do reduce your points. So Haaland's still the captain for this game week. And then look, if you want to make some changes, game week 6, you bring Estupiñán in into that defence there. You could probably bring Colwill in for Saliba if you think Arsenal are going to concede. It does reduce your expected points there. And you could probably potentially look to roll 2 in game week 6, have a couple of spare for game week 7. And plenty of rotation options you can have on this bench. Really strong performing squad, in my opinion, if you're looking to wildcard from game week 5 and onwards. So there you have it, everyone. That's my favourite FPL wildcard draft for game week 5. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe if you're new here, and don't forget to give this video a like. I'm FPLMattDay. Stay tuned on the channel leading up all the way till deadline for game week 5. Plenty of shorts to come. I'll have an FPL tips video, I'm sure, in the week as well, and my live podcast prior to deadline next week. So come along, ready for the live deadline podcast with as many questions as you can. Look, I'll leave it there. See you all in the next one. Bye for now. And if you are wildcarding in game week 5, best of luck. See you all ready for next week's deadline.